You ever love something so much and then it just dies? That's what it feels like happens a lot these days, whether it be a media franchise or, your favorite TV show or whatever you enjoy just suddenly nosedives off a cliff. Well, that's how I feel after the past few months in the developments of college football, where essentially, what football I used to love and the traditions that I came up with and the things I enjoyed about it just kind of gone. Like, the Pac-12 is dead. I think the only two teams left are Oregon State and Washington State, as Cal and Stanford are joining the ACC with Southern Methodist. So there goes that. I don't think we're too far away from them being two massive conferences with the probably the conjoining of the bigs together and the ACC and the SEC becoming two massive super conferences in the group of five being like, well, we're here now. Um, it's a sad time to be a college football fan, I feel like, because I'm just not about all of this merging and swapping and just teams just jumping across the country to just join. Like, it kills all of the fun and the regionalism of college football. And like, I'm sure people who love the NFL have no problem with it, having the best teams just join up together. But there's something about college football that the differences between the NFL to me make it so much better. I like it because it's different. Because you have these regional rivalries. You have these schools who probably should not be playing each other and just having a great time doing it. That they've been playing each other for 50 years. Now I got to go watch Oregon baseball fly all the way to Rutgers or vice versa. Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, I get it for like TV deals and the money. Oh, you can't turn down the money. But for like the tradition and the enjoyment of the sport and the whole college aspect itself, I feel like we have just turned college football and by extension all the other college sports into just a semi-professional league where like these kids are just, coming in and playing football or basketball, baseball, volleyball, track, whatever sport they pick. And now they're like, oh, the money. It's all about the money. And sure, I have no problem with guys getting what they want. But the explosion of the NIL and transfer rules and the collision of conferences is just insane, dog. Like, the damage is done to the fabric of the sports. Like, there's no point in having conferences anymore. There's no point in having these historic rivalries. The SEC is just being like, yeah, you can play the same three teams every year, and then every year it's going to be rotation. Like, huh? Great. So if I'm, say, a South Carolina fan, I got Georgia, Florida, and who am I saving? Tennessee? Vanderbilt? Kentucky? Who of my original rivalries am I going to save? Like, as a South Carolina fan myself, like, I enjoy playing Tennessee every year and Vanderbilt every year, Kentucky every year because, you know, we've been doing it for so long, and I feel like these schools have a certain rivalry between each other. Us and Missouri even have one with who's the real Columbia? Like, I understand and love those rivalries and enjoy what they bring to the sport and to college and sports in general. Like, Duke, North Carolina is great, you know? All of these classics, all of these fun bowl games. What happens if Ole Miss and Mississippi State don't save each other? Like, oh no, you're going to have to play one of them on rotation. I just, I just don't love it. I love college football. Always have. It's my favorite sport. I much prefer college sports in almost every aspect than the pro sports. The only exception probably is the MLB. I prefer, well, maybe not. I do like college baseball. But regardless, I enjoy college sports a lot. College football being my favorite sport to watch out of any sport at any level. And to see the disturbance that's happened over the past few years where it's just become this amalgamation of money. Like, you do not have to inform me about the money that comes into college football. I understand it's massive. It has always been massive. It will always be massive. It is football. Football is king in America, and people want more of it. I mean, trust me. Last week I was a sicko watching the Saturday games. So it did not matter. Watching Notre Dame's trash Navy. Like, I get it. I love college football. I will be here watching the garbage games of the teams that don't matter because I love the sport so much. I will be supporting my own team. I will be watching 7 games every Saturday at the same time. It's just, you hate to see something you love so much just become completely and utterly different than what you used to love. And sure, I'm sure the sport will go on and it will survive and it will probably thrive. The more money will be made, but you lose some of the soul, and that's a very nebulous term, I understand. like the sport just gone. Like the thing that kind of made it what it was is just no longer there. And sure, it will exist in some capacity. South Carolina will always play Clemson. You know, Alabama will probably always play Tennessee and Auburn. Like, I guess Oklahoma and Texas will play each other every year. But at a certain point, you're going to run out of reserves, and you're like, huh, how many of these rivalries can we actually save? How many of these, how many of these games can we actually keep before, like, oh, it's not really worth it for, I don't know, say in 15 years, Tennessee or Alabama is just garbage, and the other one is a powerhouse. And suddenly you're like, is it really worth us to keep playing Tennessee when we could play, like, a slightly better team that would give us more points for the 25,000 team college football playoff? Like, it's just, there's so much about the changes that have happened that I just don't know if I really like them or enjoy them. I think the death of the bowl game was a tragedy. I think the playoff has been interesting because it gives you an additional few games, but I don't know if it really saved the bowl game. I feel like it made bowl games kind of useless to most fans and to most teams. Like if you're not making, unless you're like a bottom feeder team, like if you're a premier program and you don't make the playoff, like do you really care? Do the players really care? Because why would I get hurt in a game that don't matter when I can just go declare for the draft to leave early? Not have to risk about getting hurt. Like, there's just things that have changed over the past decade or so that have just forcefully changed college football in a way that it will never recover from. At least in the way that and I think a lot of people, probably the plurality of people, enjoy the sport. Like, there will be millions of people who will enjoy it. I am one of those people because I love it too much to just go away from it. But at the same time, I recognize this is a sickness. All this money and all these rule changes and all the things that got introduced to the sport, I've put it in a place that I'm just not sure it will properly recover from in my eyes. And I know I'm just one dude out there who likes the sport, but like, there's just something about losing all of those regionalism and all the fun and all the traditions and the rivalries and all the things that came with it. The Rose Bowl being such a big deal for the Pac. Now it's like the Pac doesn't exist. It is gone. It has become defunct unless they're going to absorb the MAC or the Mountain West and become, this new conference with only two of the members of the Pac in it. Like I just don't see it coming forward. Like you're seeing it dissolve. Like all the things that it's been built upon over the past 100 so years is just being dissolved right before our very eyes. And I'm not sure if I want to support or I'm okay with that really. I just love the sport and everything about it so much. I just hate to see it become this thing, this mini NFL. That's not what I watch it for. I don't watch college football to get ready for the NFL. I'm not one of those fans. I watch college football for college football. I enjoy having the guys be here for 4 to 5 or 6 years at the most, playing their careers out for their one school and becoming, a campus hero, becoming a legend in their school. Like, does the NFL really care about, players like Victor Hampton? No, but I remember Victor. He was a great player. Is DJ Swearinger remembered in the annals of college football history? No, but he was a heck of a player at South Carolina. There's just so many players that just, if DJ's not here for all his entire career, if he transfers in and out and goes to 4 different schools in 4 different years, like, he doesn't really make a name for himself. Like, I understand the NFL is the end goal for most of these guys. They want to be a pro. They want to earn money. They want to, become a big guy and make $100 million on their next contract and set them and their families up for their lives. I get that. I respect that, and I think that's what you should do if you can. But as a fan of the sport, but foremost, it hurts, and it's kind of sad to see, like, it just come to this state where, like, why would you be at a bad program when you can just go to a good program who needs you? Like, why would I go be the quarterback at Miami of Ohio or, Buffalo when I can transfer to Notre Dame because they don't have a quarterback and, set myself up for some premier draft stock? Why would I go be a legend at one of these tiny schools or one of these less successful schools when I can just spend a year or two here, prove that I am a quality starter anywhere in college football, and go to a team that needs an upgrade to that position? Like, it's a smart business decision. It'll get you more NIL money. It'll probably get you better draft stock. It'll just make things so much easier for you going forward. And I don't knock the guys for doing that. Like, if you can transfer to a better program, get yourself more money, and set your family up for a better position, totally get that. Totally understand that. I think that's a smart business decision. But as someone who likes the sport and the game and how much, it means and how much everything is meant to me through my entire life, it kind of guided how I wanted to, enjoy things, and like my ideas about football is based on what I watched in college rather than what I watched in pro, and I watched plenty of both. Seeing it become this miniature NFL where you're just going to have two massive conferences, probably, if not one. The NCAA may just lose all its power to the conferences. The conferences hold all the keys. The NCAA is just put itself in a hole where it has none of the power. It's completely give the power to the schools and the conferences. They control everything. Like if the SEC said something, the NCAA, I don't know if they can really do anything about it. They've put themselves in a bind where I don't know if they can survive. Like the NCAA, if the NCAA comes to blows with the 60-team conference, I'm not sure if the NCAA is going to win that fight. Because if you got the entirety of the Power Five against the NCAA, what is power leverage the NCAA have? The NCAA becomes much more neutered when you're dealing with just all of the smaller schools who aren't going to bring in nearly as much money as those bigger schools do, hand over fist, even during football season. Like Alabama or Texas A&M or Texas or Oklahoma or Clemson or Southern Cal or any of these major programs bring in more money hand over fist every year than probably than a lot of schools bring in the entire year with all of their sports combined. Like there's just so much money that flows through the sport that it drives everything. And basketball brings in a lot of money, not nearly as much as football does. You can be a basketball school, sure. I would love to see the year over year between Duke and North Carolina's basketball programs or their football programs. Because many of those schools have been very, very good over the past 15 years in football. So, we are entering a weird era where everything that I loved about the sport's basically gone. Like, I'll still love my team and its rivalries that we still have. But, I don't know. I grew up watching football in the 2000s and 2010s, and I love it. Love everything about it. It's great. I enjoy the sport so much. And now everything's different. And, I'm sure people will continue to love it. People who are older and younger and the same age as me will continue to enjoy it and adore it and watch it and support it. But me, as a fan, I don't know. We're entering at different times where, there's just so much about the sport that is different. And then it's becoming, less of the college game I love and more like the NFL, which I have been very neutral on, I would say, with, its rule changes and how the sport works and the eradication of certain positions in terms of value. You can't win with just a running back in the NFL over the past, 15 years. Having a good running back is good, but a quarterback is much more important. Alabama won several national championships where it was a very bad quarterback, just being carried by, a powerhouse of a running back. Wisconsin would rattle off 10, 11 wins a year with a below average quarterback. You can't have success in the NFL without a good quarterback. But if you have a good defense and a really good running back, you can absolutely dominate college football outside of maybe winning everything. You can be a very, very good program year over year with grit and determination and a different play style than what you see in the NFL. The NFL is lighting the field up. It's throwing 45 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. And running the ball, 7 times a game. Sure, that's great. I love that. But the air raid is not something I adore in college football. I prefer something much more varied and structured in a different way. And seeing the game seemingly approach becoming what the NFL game is now, I don't know. Seeing everything change and all these regular realignments, the transfer portal is just become an abomination. The rule changes and just allowing guys to flop over and over and over again is just insane to me. You can be a freshman at one school, then a redshirt at another, then a sophomore, then a junior, then a senior, and then you can get your injury year. You can go to 6 schools in 6 years. There needs to be a restriction on that in some capacity. It feels like there's just too much movement. I understand guys want to go different places and experience things and be on better programs and make more money. But at some point, you got to look at this and be like, you have a commitment at some level to the school you went to. So you need to kind of respect that commitment. I understand empowering the player because they don't have a ton of power. At least they haven't. But now they can be like, you could be the star corner at Alabama and be like, Coach Saban, Texas is going to get me, $1 million more in NIL. So I'm just going to go to Texas, Or you can be a corner, or you can be the top wide receiver at Grambling and be like, I'm sorry, Coach. I go to Alabama and make $5 million this year. Sorry, go now. See ya. I'll be a freshman, go be a sophomore, and just dominate somewhere else. There's just so much money and so much freedom of movement that it's kind of watered down the entire product. Where unless you're the top program, you just can't survive. programs made their names off of finding the diamonds in the rough, doing the dirty work in scouting and finding these small guys who are just overlooked by the big guys, overlooked by Alabama or Georgia or Texas or Southern Cal or Oklahoma, Clemson, Florida, name whoever. Just overlooked. Did not get their due diligence. The guys did not scout them properly, or just did not believe they had the talent. Then you go to some school, somewhere that you're unexpected, and you just thrive. You become a phenom. You just absolutely become a breakout player, and then suddenly, oh yeah, you know, Eastern Illinois. Thank you for so much for investing the time and the effort to scout me and develop me as a player and show the world that I actually can play. But I gotta go to Oklahoma, man. Like playing with that offense, being just a dominant guy, getting all that money, just can't turn that down. And it's not smart for my family to do so. And like I get it, but like at a certain point, there's got to be some restriction to be like, you have to honor the promise you gave to the school, and the school's got to honor the promise to you. Like the school shouldn't be able to just cut you for no reason. Be like, just we don't like you anymore. Get out of here. Like both sides have to honor the agreement they made, and I feel like this is not happening. Players just going to do whatever they want, and I don't think that's right. I don't think the school should be able to do whatever they want. I don't think that would be right. There's just a lot of change coming, and I just as a fan don't like it. And I don't know if it's gonna make the game better. I think like the rule changes with the first downs. Just nah. I watched it during the Navy Notre Dame game. Wasn't a huge fan. It's just there's just these little rule changes, these little tweaks, these little things that make college football different from the NFL, and they're just so nice, and I love them. And they change the dynamics of the game and how it's called and how it's played to a level where I just think it's so much better. I think it's a step above the NFL in every way. And to see like all of these changes and it become more commercialized, more I don't know if I say commercialized, more semi-professional in a way, just eliminating all the regionalism and like the stupid but fun dumb rivalries that happen. I don't know. It would be brutal to be a Rutgers player and have to travel all the way to Oregon. This just be insane to me, dog. This would be insane to me. Yeah, I'm on Oregon. I'm on Rutgers lacrosse. I'm going to go play Oregon. Or I'm on Rutgers baseball, going all the way to Oregon. Like what? For what? Why? That just doesn't make any sense. Does not make any sense. So all of this is to say, I hate the way college football is going. I don't think we're going into a great place. I think the quality of the sport will diminish, even though the profit will probably skyrocket. The more money will come through the sport than it's ever had. Players will be getting everything they want. Coaches will be getting paid more money. The schools will be raking in money hand over fist. The schools that get left behind will get left behind. They'll have to survive in the group of five, I guess. But money is king, and money has come to the college football in a big way ever since the rules changed. And I don't know if you can ever put that genie back in that bottle. I think we are, unless some severe regulation or changes coming from up top that the schools will swallow. I think the goose is cooked for college football in terms of my overall enjoyment. I will still watch and I will still be a fan of my school, but I don't know if I'll watch as much anymore. Seeing like all of the love and passion we take out of it for the money. And I don't really blame people for taking the money, but at some point, the love for the game has got to come over the money. And that's just kind of how I feel about it.